How's it going, my sweet tooth bakers? Hope your day's going great so far. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're making a very unique lemony treat, so let's get in the kitchen and get started. Sharp and zesty lemon curd, a smooth cream cheese filling, all wrapped up in a super soft and puffy dough. This bake has it all when it comes to flavor and texture. It is a beautiful all-in-one dessert, and while it may look complicated, it is extremely easy to make. The three main elements of this bread are all made with simple recipes, and if you're feeling really lazy, you could replace the lemon curd with some type of jam. But it is well worth making the lemon curd, and it takes no time at all, so you might as well do it. Right, here's what we'll need for today's bake. For the dough, we'll need some white bread flour, yeast, salt, sugar, butter, yogurt, vanilla paste, vanilla syrup or vanilla essence, an egg and some milk. For the lemon curd, we'll need some fresh lemon juice, the zest of all the lemons that the juice came from. We'll also need some butter, sugar and an egg. For the cream cheese part of the filling, we'll need some full fat soft cheese. I used Philadelphia. We'll also need some sugar, a little bit more lemon juice and some flour. And finally, for glazing and decorating, we'll use an egg for brushing and some pearl sugar to sprinkle on top. But that is only for looks, so you can skip it. As for the equipment, we'll need a tray with some non-stick baking paper, bowl, scales, a dough scraper, temperature probe, a brush, a whisk, spatula, a pot for cooking the lemon curd, a fine grater for the lemon zest, and a rolling pin for rolling out the dough. All pretty standard stuff. Okay, let's get the fillings out of the way first. Let's start with the cream cheese part of the filling. Combine the sugar, the flour, the lemon juice, and the cream cheese in a bowl, and then whisk it all up until it's nice and smooth. Then cover it up and leave it in the fridge for later. Next, let's move on to making the lemon curd. In a small pan, combine the sugar, the lemon zest, the egg, and the lemon juice. The butter will be added later. Grab a whisk, give everything a good mix, and then set the pan on medium to high heat. It will take around 3 minutes to cook. We want to bring it up to a temperature of between 75 to 80 degrees Celsius or 167 to 176 degrees Fahrenheit. As soon as it reaches that temperature, take it off the heat. Then add the butter and whisk it in until it's completely melted. And that is how easy it is to make lemon curd. I left the lemon zest inside because I don't mind it. But if you want it completely smooth, then you could pass the curd through a fine sieve. Okay, once the lemon curd is ready, transfer it to a bowl, cover that up too, leave it in the fridge for later. Whilst the lemon curd is chilling down, we can move on to making the dough, and all begins with temperature control. My kitchen was relatively cool on the day of baking, so I warmed up my ingredients. I'm aiming for a final dough temperature of at least 23 degrees Celsius or 73 degrees Fahrenheit. But don't worry if your dough turns out slightly warmer or slightly cooler. Just adjust the fermentation times and keep an eye on it. Right, to make the dough, pour the milk in a large bowl, add the butter, the yogurt, the egg, the sugar, the yeast, the salt and the vanilla, and then whisk everything up. You want to dissolve the sugar, the salt and the yeast completely. Then finally, add the last ingredient, the white bread flour. Grab your dough scraper and mix it to the dough. We are not cold fermenting this time, so this will be a relatively quick recipe. But even if we were cold fermenting, you can always adjust the recipe to be made at room temperature. Or you can choose to cold ferment this recipe. That's the best thing about baking, you can fit it around your schedule. Don't just look at the recipe and think, oh, he's cold fermenting again, I can't do it. All you need to do is leave the dough at room temperature, it's as easy as that. Okay, after a quick temperature check, cover up the dough, leave it for the bulk fermentation. The dough is quite stiff, so I chose not to fold it this time. I just let it rise for an hour and a half, and then moved on to dividing it and pre-shaping it. And anyway, pre-shaping is a folding step, so it's pretty much the same thing anyway. Weigh the dough ball, cut it in half, and then shape each half into a nice round ball. Flatten the dough, and then fold the edge over the middle whilst going around in a circle until you reach point where you started. Once you have a nice tight dough ball, flip it smooth side up and tighten it against the table. That's your pre-shaping done. After pre-shaping, cover up the dough balls, leave them to rest for 30 minutes. This will let the gluten relax and make the final shaping job easier. Okay, it's final shaping time. Dust your table with flour, dust the dough ball with flour, and then roll it out. Don't worry about measurements here. The width of the dough will dictate the length of the loaf, and the length of the dough will dictate the height of the loaf. To make our job easier later down the line, place the piece of dough on your baking paper straight away before shaping the loaf. Now grab your dough scraper and draw 2 lines on the dough, dividing it into 3 equal sections, more or less anyway. The middle is where the filling will go, and the sides will be cut into strips. You can use your dough scraper for this job. I have a pizza cutter and it works very well, so I use that instead. You can make the strips as wide or as narrow as you like. To avoid overlapping too many pieces, remove 2 strips from the bottom and the top, and to not waste them, place them in the middle. Now take half of the cream cheese filling and spread it in the middle of the dough, and create a little trench for the lemon curd to go into, and then fill that trench with about 3 teaspoons of lemon curd. Okay, now comes the fun part. We need to seal it all in. Fold over the little flap of dough from the top, and then cross over the strips alternating the sides, one from the left, one from the right, and so on, until you've almost reached the bottom. Don't continue all the way down. Leave 4 strips. Before crossing over the 4 strips, take the flap at the bottom and fold that up over the filling, and then finish folding over the remaining strips. And by the way, if you want to make one giant loaf, you can do that. Instead of dividing and pre-shaping, simply roll the dough out and shape it just like this after bulk fermentation. I did that in my original recipe, but this time I decided to make 2 smaller ones. Okay, these guys are ready for the final proof. Cover them up, leave them to rise for around 1 hour. Of course, this will depend on the temperature of your kitchen. Towards the end of the final proof, switch on the oven to 170 degrees Celsius, 340 Fahrenheit, fan on. If your oven doesn't have a fan, go for 190 Celsius or 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Once the loaves look nice and puffy, we can move on to glazing them. And this time I decided to use the double glazing technique. It creates a much richer crust. So brush the dough once, leave it to dry for 5 minutes, and then brush it again. And then finally, sprinkle it with the optional pearl sugar. You can leave it off just as well, they'll still turn out beautiful. Or you can sprinkle them with something else. Even regular sugar will work well. If you are using something chunky like the pearl sugar here, be sure to press it into the dough to really make it stick. Right, these guys are ready for the oven, so let's get them in there. They'll take around 25 minutes to fully bake. And if you go a funny oven just like I do, and it bakes things more on one side than the other, then you want to turn the tray around halfway through the bake. That way you get a nice evenly brown crust. And of course, don't just follow the timer. Bake them until you are happy with the color. Once they're nicely golden brown all over, they're ready. Now to make them extra shiny, sweet and sticky, you could brush them with some hot sugar syrup as soon as they come out of the oven. But I skipped it this time. And there you have it. That's how you make beautiful cream cheese and lemon curd breads. It looks incredible and it tastes great too. The sharp lemon curd, balanced by the rich cream cheese, and the sweet soft bread is a great all-in-one dessert. And as you just saw, it is very easy to pull off. If you've got a bit of a sweet tooth, head over to the enriched dough playlist. It is full of awesome sweet treat bakes. Don't forget that you can get early access videos by clicking the join button. You can find all the things that I use in my Amazon store, link down below. And if you have watched this far, give me a thumbs up please, it helps a lot.
So what do you think of this recipe? Have you tried something like this before? Let me know down in the comments. For more videos like this one, click over here. Subscribe to the channel, click right here. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.